chose Infernal Shrines. And well-chosen RPG because that was the battleground you defeated SBT on yesterday. So they're going to try to repeat the success story coming in from yesterday. Actually, CE's flawless record was shattered this phase with 11-1. So definitely all the chances available for RPG right now.
Indeed. So, there we go. Loaded. Cool. So yeah, 91% though for CE is still kind of crazy, but RPG, like you said, this is the map. This is a map that any team can win on if they just play it well. Now, can RPG, even though they can't achieve BlizzCon right now, any points here are just extra safety points to prevent them from going anywhere near that relegation. So they'd love a 1-1 here. CE, they have nothing to lose here.
Exactly. Nothing to lose other than the glory and the fame. RPG, they need to stabilize. A 1-1 would actually help them out tremendously when it comes to securing and stabilizing their spot here in HGC China for next phase. And truth be told, Tetcher, there's hardly any team I would love to stay in the league as much as RPG. Like, imagine an HGC China phase in 2018 without RPG. That would be the saddest thing in the world.
I would be so sad. But like you said, it's unlikely in our opinion, but it is possible. So RPG, they just want any points they can get to try and create that difference so that they are not in the danger zone. As it is time for CE to take the first pick.
It's a really good song. Takes me back to the old days when I was actually still going to the gym on a regular basis, and there was an 80s CD playing every time I went there, and Danger Zone was one of the tracks.
I just have it because I've been watching Archer recently. the Charlene, was that a name version of it? Was good with Kenny Loggins. That was good.
There we go. Here we go, man. I'm starting to feel old right now. Even older.
We need someone with musical talents to make a BlizzCon parody, because you know we had the road to BlizzCon. Yeah. Just the highway to BlizzCon.
All right. Laura Lania, by the way, big shout out to her in the chat, says that she needs a gym challenge buddy. And you know what? I accept the challenge because after I'm done moving to my new apartment, which is probably going to take place in 2 weeks from now, there's a gym right next to my new block. So it should take me, I don't know, man, 10 minutes by foot. So there's no excuses for not making it to the gym. So Laura Lania, fist bump, virtual fist bump, challenge accepted.
We see ETC and Uther coming in here to answer the question in chat. I am not going to BlizzCon. I have not been invited in any capacity. Kendrick is. Which capacity are you invited in?
Basically, I'm just going there as a guest. So, no official jobs confirmed yet. That may change or may not change, depending on what Blizzard's plans are. But I'm definitely going either way.
So, yes, there you go. So, if you guys are at BlizzCon, you can go and say hello to Kendrick. But you'll unfortunately, at the moment, by the looks of it, be missing both of our tones. So, we'll still be good. We love the other casters, so it's all good. So, we have Rhaegar and Tyrael. And lags immediately. But the Uther ETC is already very scary. If we see that combined with a Greymane, for example, could be good.
Exactly. And, you know, never change a running system, I would say. And the ETC is definitely running well. Like, regardless of Chicken or Wang playing it, it normally gets them good results. And the stage dives, to be honest, they were definitely on point compared to Lucky yesterday, who just basically hit the empty ground for the most part. So Chicken definitely having a lot more impact, quite literally, with those stage dives here. And Uther ETC... See? Thank you. I always appreciate it when people notice those small nuances, you know?
Got what I was drinking. Yes, I loved it. It was good. As Sonya comes in here for CE. Once again, potentially Zuyu playing that again.
Oh my god, by the way, somebody in chat mentioned that you're supposed to send a cardboard cutout. Can you imagine how cool it would be if there was a big Tetra cardboard standing at BlizzCon somewhere?
Well, I want to try, potentially, if anyone in the chat lives in LA, and you can tell me, like, where would be a place to get, like, a reasonably cheap cardboard cutout of myself, I will bring it to the Crucible and just hide under the desk for a game. If someone can tell me, like, where I can get one printed off.
Oh my goodness. Somebody living in the California area, in the LA area to be exact. Hit up Tetra, send him a tweet, at Tetra on Twitter, send him a Twitch private message, whatever you prefer, and help him out.
Yes.
Can you tell us why you're going to LA, by the way, in the first place, just in case some people didn't catch it?
I am going for the second European Crucible, where the top teams from the EU Open Division will be playing against the bottom two teams from the EU Pro Division, which have been decided as Team Good Guys and Playing Ducks, whereas the Open Division, we can find out who is going from there by watching the playoffs, which happen about an hour and a half after China today and tomorrow. We're already about to decide as our third game today in the playoffs, who will be the first team going to the playoffs, as the upper bracket finals will be happening between Polska Pamięta and Leftovers, who both made it to the semi-finals last phase as well.
And sorry, by the way, for skipping on this draft, but I think it's really interesting. It's very standard in the first place, yeah, and it's very interesting to talk about these things as well. So Tetra from... Oh!
Hey!
Let's talk about the draft!
Let's talk about the draft. We're back, baby. So, first Chinese Kel'Thuzad. Already, we're excited. And the return of Sylvanas here. So that means it's going to be Paradise, right? On the Sonya and Zuyu on the Sylvanas.
Although Zuyu could also play the Kel'Thas, depending on how much he's practiced it.
You just called him Kel'Thas. Chat's gonna be mad.
Chat's gonna be mad right now. To be honest... Suck it, chat. I love Kel'Thas way more than Kel'Thuzad from a lore point of view. Suck it!
I actually agree, but
nice!
Wow.
No, I mean, if you played Kel'Thas' campaign in Warcraft 3: The Frozen Throne, there's so much depth to it. There's so much drama going on. It's a really dramatic figure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a series at our hands here, with Kel'Thuzad entering the fray, and despite not being, you know, Tetra, my most favorite baby boy, we're still gonna be very excited to see what he's capable of doing here on that second battleground. And add to that a little bit of Sylvanas, and we've got ourselves some crazy pushing potential.
So far, Sylvanas has had a very low success rate this season. CE, keep trying it. But this season has been the least successful one so far. The previous seasons, they've done marvels with it. This season has been a little rough. So, can they finally bring out a win with the Banshee Queen? And maybe the Lich King? Sorry, not the Lich King. The Arch Lich Lord of the Plague Lands. I'm not going to go through them all. Will that be enough?
Although you know them all.
The game. I do know them all. I am on point, but I'm not going to do them yet. I might do them in-game, the intro.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we've seen plenty of Kel'Thuzad in the other regions thus far, but here in China, in HGC China, it is the first time, and boy, are we excited about it. There seems to be a trend of the hero actually performing pretty well. It is a 5-5 right now, but overall, we're going to find out more about Kel'Thuzad and his adventures in game number 2 between CE and RPG. Stay tuned. Now, the team that is fielding the Archlich of Naxxramas onto the Infernal Shrines. It is CE with a Luful on Rhaegar, Wind on Tyrael, KTY on Kel'Thuzad, Paradise plays Sonya, and Zuyu, as Tetra said, is going to be on that Sylvanas.
Whereas on the right, it is going to be RPG, with Chicken on Leoric, Wang on ETC, Tsar on the Uther, Infinity on Valor, and Loktar playing that Valor. So we're already starting off with a different Kel'Thuzad build to what we usually see. Not starting off with the beginning of that one-shot build with the Barbed Chains. Instead, the Plague Lands coming in. The increased duration of his Death and Decay.
Yeah, indeed. No Barbed Chains, which is normally the go-to because it lowers armor after reaching a certain amount of stacks on your trait. But yeah, it could be a full Q build. I've never seen that one live in action in competitive. I've seen, you know, a lot of Kel'Thuzad players pick it in on streams or in Hero League, but I've never seen it in pro play. Have you?
No, it's always been Barb Chains from what I've seen, but I didn't watch all the Copa games, so it might have been different there, and I might just be misremembering.
Right.
But either way, I'm very interested to see how the Archlich of Naxxramas, esteemed Lich Lord of the Plaguelands, commander of the Dread Necropolis, master and founder of the Cult of the Damned, formerly of the Council of Six, creator of the Abomination, summoner of Archimon the Defiler, betrayer of humanity, Hearthstone enthusiast, and major domo to the Lich King himself, Kael'Thu freaking Zard, will be using this talent as he's already dead. I couldn't have gone better with him dying midway through me doing that.
Yeah. My inside, my nerd senses were tingling, and my inside was crying out in passion, and just didn't really go so well for the Kael'Thu Zard though. So my eyes were crying.
Also, I missed apparently Master of Mr. Bigglesworth. Or
there you go.
Cat infused. Cat.
Oh, give him a break. KTY. Give him. Hey, he's actually called KTY. I just noticed.
Aw, Kael'Thu Zard, why? It goes down again. Getting taken out.
Oh,
having a little bit of a rough time at the start here.
KTY. Oh my. Oh boy. Next level role playing, by the way. I think that was their intention all along.
Yeah, it was all intended. But now, though, we already see 2 kills onto Kael'Thu Zard. As they hit level 4, it is going to be the standard phylactery of Kael'Thu Zard.
Yeah. Only thing that remains for now. KTY getting pressured once again by ETC. This time his teammates have his back though. The Frost Nova not really doing too much here. It is of course very important for KTY to really have a good brawling phase going on. Like the early game is actually the most important phase of Kael'Thu Zard, because if he takes too long stacking up his Master of the Cold Dark, then you're going to be in trouble, because your damage is going to be significantly lowered, your cooldowns are going to be too high, and you really need to get rolling, especially after acquiring level 10 and possibly going for the Dark Fissure. You really want to blow the entire Frost combo onto your foes, and only then will you get lethal.
We're not even going to see the full combo here. We're not going to see that vulnerable that you would get from the Barb Chains. Yeah. It's just the AoE here, the extra radius on the Death and Decay, which I guess is just for clearing on this objective.
I guess it makes sense if you play on Infernal Shrines, because then you can destroy multiple skeletons at the same time. But if you have a Sylvanas, if you have a Sonya material, do you really need that? We're going to see and find out how much value KT is going to get from that talent. But for now...
Wind.
Oh yeah,
that is too deep. They're not killing him though. Like the gate's still up. They could just straight up kill him. The ETC instead looks for KTY, and the Punisher is probably going to kill Infinity. Clutch heal by Uther, but Wind is on it, and they're able to kill off Valor here. And Wind will finally go down and might get a kill in exchange. Decent damage.
Yeah, decent damage. Zuri needs to get out of here. Does he have a Haunting Wave at the ready? Leaps it over the wall and makes it out. Spectacular save. No stuns ready anymore for Uther nor ETC. And we also saw a nice chain here coming from Kael'Thu Zard. Of course, we're going to keep close track of his stacking process. Only 9 stacks thus far. Look at Genji, by the way. Genji is one of the heroes that can truly put the pressure on Kael'Thu Zard. He's mobile, he can dodge the spells, he's hard to take down, and of course, he can deal a surprising amount of burst damage onto the Kael'Thu Zard. Speaking of Genji, by the way, look at the level 4 talent Tetra, the Dragon's Claw being deployed. That, of course, allows him to deal exceptional burst damage into or onto targets that are in his vicinity. And if he dives deep on the Kael'Thu Zard, you know, pops the Dragon's Claw, I think he's going to have exceptional burst potential.
He really could. There's also the potential of a Zuyu? Zuyu? Oh my god, that was close. But yeah, that we do have the potential of an insane counter if Genji was to go full deflect build, including the 33%.
Oh yeah.
If he just stands in accelerated in the Death and Decay, which now has accelerated decay as well, he can just get a crazy amount of counter damage onto Kael'Thu Zard there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have the Glacial Spike. It was nerfed with the latest patch after all, but not even... Okay, wow. I've never seen a build like that in competitive play. Not even going for the armor of the...
I tried it once. It worked pretty well. It's great for the spell drain that you get later.
Yeah. I mean, it could lead... Like, if this game goes all the way to the late game, it might even reach the point at level 20 where Kael'Thu Zard goes for the Damned Return, and then you could potentially have 2 instances of your Q dealing massive AoE damage.
We could go for the damned return. We haven't seen that in a while. I have seen that before in Quick Match. The only level 20 talent I have not actually seen ever on Kel'Thuzad is Shifting Malice.
Oh, I've seen it plenty of times. I'm actually using it a lot.
I've never seen
it. Grubby has used it on his stream as well, and it's actually a really neat talent. It comes with a major cooldown of 240 seconds, but every takedown reduces it to 0, so you're going to have it ready
that's neat.
Much more than you would expect firsthand.
Like that. Luful gets focused and taken out. The Genji Shurikens get the finishing blow.
A lot of damage done though by Kel'Thuzad. Uther really had to pump out all the healings he could find. But of course, without the Rega, without their main support, they're not going to struggle when it comes to contesting this shrine. Zuyu also dashing over the wall, but it's once again Kel'Thuzad that is getting taken down by 3 enemy heroes. Not the sandwich you want to go for.
Kel'Thuzad Y as he goes down, having a really rough game. There's been 5 kills and he's been 3 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe more, actually. On the bright side, he is 6 stacks into Phylactery and 16 Blight stacks into Master of the Cold Dark. Which heroics he going for? He could maybe change it up and go for Frost Blast, get that CC in there.
To be honest, Tetcher, I wouldn't hate it. Because if you take a look at the roster here from RPG against the Shadow Fissure, ETC can power slide out of it. Ah, never mind. He still goes for it. But Genji could have dashed it. Vala could have dashed away. So Frostblast would have definitely given them more teamfight control. But, you know, Shadow Fissure is just too good to be passed on.
Yeah, like, I personally believe that Frostblast is really, really good. Shadow Fissure, one lockdown that they really have to set up for it. He has to land his own route, basically, to get away with it. He can still land his root and chains combo, he just won't have the vulnerable for it, and he can't use it on a single target. He has to double target it.
Speaking of the lack of lockdown, like, unless they're using some of their heroic abilities, like the Wailing Arrow from Sylvanas, there's barely anything they can do to really stop the Genji from doing cheeky maneuvers like that. If you had heroes like, let's say, Uther in your team, or maybe even Murden, like, you could punish a Genji much more frequently, preventing him from just diving in, activating his deflect, and shouting in your Mada Mada in your face. So, yeah, they're gonna have to find a way to deal with that Loktar. And Loktar Genji, most deadliest Genji.
KTY missing his Q there for a little bit, but for now, he is still fine. He's not... You can see how far back he's playing. He's definitely learning that he is the target. If he's taken out, there's going to be a much easier time for RPG to win fights, because Sylvanas on her own does damage, but not Kel'Thuzad damage.
Exactly, and of course, things are not going to get any better anytime soon here, because with that stage dive, ETC can put a lot of pressure into the backline. Wherever KT stands, ETC is going to be able to find him, unless I would actually love to see a counter sanctification maybe on top of Kel'Thuzad when ETC goes for that deep dive to really make him stabilize and get him out of harm's way in, you know, in time.
We see Wind. Eldurin's miting out. He was in trouble, but able to teleport out, he's being back actually, not going to get healed up. Feels he has time, no objectives spawned yet, so he's able to be back without too many issues. He has gone for Reciprocate again, by the way.
Now, speaking of 13 talents available for Kel'Thuzad, the Chains of Ice, which is normally the go-to, was nerfed a little bit, now only slowing for 60%, rather than, I think it was 80 before.
Chain Link has actually been the go-to from the games I've seen.
Oh, in the pro games? Really?
Yeah, the cooldown reduction, so you can get the combo more often.
Because according to statistics and like from my own personal experience, I think Chains of Ice was the much more common one. But of course, sometimes competitive builds differ from the casual ones. And in the meantime, Dragon Blade Genji with that Divine Shield going deep.
Ancestral. Zuyu survives, stands in the sag. The Wailing Arrow, though, completely whiffs.
Wow.
And as such, Loktar just leaps to freedom. It is flail after flail here. Chains are used here. They're trying to lock down Genji again. But he's too far back. Shadow Fissure not getting a huge amount of value. Wind getting focused. No Sank available. He will explode here. He's looking for Infinity and gets him.
Trade value, 1-for-1 trade, and Kel'Thuzad is still standing. Combined with Sonya, they take out ETC, and all the red health bars are dropping low. RPG now losing that team fight tremendously. Now, Zuyu needs to be careful, though. One Swift Strike, and Genji's going to end your lives. Is he actually going for it?
Oh, wow! He survives!
Wow!
And he may just die to minions here if he's not careful. He micros behind.
Yeah, Leoric is coming back too as well. Like, Zuyu needs to be on his tippy toes here.
Leoric wants it. What? The down. The minions attacking him. He's so low. Grabs minions. He grabs the globes. He
Chicken is on the hunt.
Trying to work out where he is. He's looking for it. Drop the drain. You have hope. He didn't even take. He has hopelessness. He could have done it. He turns it round. Margin Black Kings. He teleports through, and they kill Chicken again. Zuyu the god.
You know, sometimes a man just needs to stay to the target, and sometimes, especially in China, it's hard to let go. Hard to let go.
So, Icy Grasp was the level 13 talent, by the way, for Kel'Thuzad, going for that extra slow duration on the Frost Nova.
No disrespect to KTY here, by the way, who's a fantastic player, a much better player than myself, but I do have to criticize... Oh, nice silence here, by the way. Saving Paradise for now, dropping the Poison Spear. Is it going to be enough to take out Genji? Yes, it is! And all of a sudden, Zuyu finds himself surrounded by 3 enemy members, but Wind is here to reinforce him.
Yeah, Wind is now also in a little bit of danger, but Eldarin's might, he is out, and a Shadow Vision for good measure to give Chicken a parting gift.
Yeah, back to the point I was trying to make here about KTY and Kel'Thuzad. I think he missed a lot of spells, and especially those chains oftentimes were used a little bit too prematurely. Like the normal combo, or the ideal combo of Kel'Thuzad you want to use is you chain first, you drop the Frost Nova on top, and then you spam everything else you've got. Like your ulti, the Shadow Fissure, the Q, whatever comes to your mind. But the chains and Nova spells need to be aligned in perfect synchrony, and that oftentimes didn't look too good on KTY.
He's avoiding the one-shot combo and instead appears to just be going for consistent damage drop. More similar to a Kael'thas than, say, a Nova or someone like that. He is just going for that. Or a Kerrigan is a great example. Just going for consistent damage as opposed to one-shot blow-up style. We see Chicken fleeing with that ominous Wraith, and he will get out.
He just dodged every spell in the world, it looked like. But that's, of course, the power of Ominous Wraith. Not only is it going to reduce the damage of all enemies passed through with that Wraith Walk, excuse me, but also it gives you a longer duration, allowing you to cover greater distances, and that's really what helped Chicken to survive at that moment.
It really did. And Kel'Thuzad, by the way, Arcane Echoes. So whenever a Kel'Thuzad hits an enemy hero with Death and Decay's explosion, its cooldown is reduced.
Okay, so KTY now definitely doesn't try to go for the one-shot combo, because otherwise Hungry and Cold would have been the go-to talent. It is so important to go for that talent. Instead, he now goes for the Arcane Echoes. Go ahead.
Again, we've seen a couple players going for a Power of Ice Crown for a very similar reason, just to increase the ability power. So it's either the extra insta-burst or the extra consistent ability burst, because you get 4 abilities off in the one-shot combo.
But we can definitely agree on the fact that Arcane Echoes is the least common one in pro play.
Yes, in the one-shot combo, this is the one that makes the least sense. This is a poke build.
Exactly. Poke build, cover a lot of ground with your Qs, destroy those skeletons as you can see, and poke them to death. At level 20, I think it has to be called the end, but another teamfight is going to break out with ETC diving deep.
Frost Nova was good by KTY, giving him a chance to turn around. And again, a really good Death and Decay in that zoning area, and a Shadow Fissure to make sure anyone who came through there would be in serious trouble. We're seeing Chicken having to use the Wraith Walk, but Sylvanas gets deleted here. Sang for the turnaround though. Genji gets annihilated. We're seeing the Chicken attempting down the Wraith Walk, getting that ominous Wraith value, but he will still die.
He will still die, doing a little bit of a mini-game here, hitting as many enemy heroes as you can. Shadow Fissure coming in, but only short. Zoning Za out, though. He couldn't retreat the normal way because there was this big Ice Glacier spike coming through, and now I think CEs is going to collect them all. No, Uther healing Infinity, and that Vala is still looking very dangerous to those low HP bars of Alufal and KTY. Still pretty good team fight in favor of CE.
Yeah, Master of the Cold Dark is complete, full Blight stacks for KTY, so he's getting the maximum amount of
now we're
life steal because he has Phylactrophy, and he has all his damage output available. I am enjoying this build from Kel'Thuzad. It's not what we expected, but I am enjoying this Floor is Ice build. It is really good, just forcing relocations and forcing micro out of RPG, putting them in rough positions.
And Teacher, the Q build, or basically any Kel'Thuzad build, only gets rolling right now. The moment you complete your trait Master of the Cold Dark, that's when you start kicking things. That's when you start destroying things with raw ice. So from now on, KTY is going to be a whole different hero, and we're going to take a look at all those Q damage over time.
Yeah, he's just chucking them out. He is missing a couple, but it's a low enough cooldown that he can just spam it and not have too many issues. You can see it taking down that keep for the moment. doing a good job here. And the Punisher gets the stun
so
on
much damage
Chicken.
on Leoric.
Goes down. Stage dive lands on nothing. They just dive past Wang here and dare him to come in here. Keep goes down. Frostnova misses though. Wang able to make his way through thanks to that hand of protection. But the Punisher on half health is looking for core here. Baited into keep range though. That's good. Genji coming in here with Divine Shield. Trying to finish them off. The sanctification so good though. Wailing Arrow decimates the backline. Zara is getting body blocked from his own base here.
Can't get out.
Making him Punisher. He comes with the clutch. But he makes it in. But that's still going to be it. That's GG. And CE takes the 2-0.
Beautiful performance by CE. RPG just got top-decked and ranked in that last team fight. They got baited into the sanctification, the ancestral healing on point, and CE, they're just having a good time. They know exactly how good that last victory felt, and unfortunately for RPG, they don't take any points out of the series, so they remain at 10 points in the overall standings. They remain dangerously close to the bottom of the table, and every game for them counts. And actually, there's only one more series left to go for them.
It really does. Hey, it's Genshmo!
Hey!
So, what this means is BlizzCon, we have 2 teams confirmed. CE are now really, really safe in that BlizzCon position, which means there are now only
untouchable
2 teams battling for that 3rd spot. It is between both our brand new teams, 2 in the league. It is BTG, currently on 17 points, and the 1 currently on 15. If the 1 are able to win 2-0 today, they will overtake BTG, and it will come down to the last week. Even if they don't, it's coming down to the last week.
Yeah. So exciting to see both of those new and upcoming teams battle it out for their ticket to BlizzCon. And I mean, we talked about this in the past, right? But it's such a success story as well for HGC China to have 2 teams at the same time who are performing so admirably well. Like, you need to think of this. You're an amateur player. Just let's say you're fighting your way through Open Division in China, which of course isn't called Open Division, but Silver League, but you're fighting your way through. All this blood, sweat, and tears are now going to get rewarded with you making it to the biggest tournament, the most prestigious tournament, both in glory and prize money, at BlizzCon. This is basically every gamer's dream, and it shows that Heroes of the Storm makes gamers' dreams come true. That sounded good, didn't it?
It really does. It really did. Well done. It was sufficiently cheesy.